This is Motherlode plus 13, double upgraded, 2 chests, whatever you want to call it, in 2018. Hey there, guys, it's Metro, and today we're back continuing the series where we do post-commentary over interesting dungeons and talk about the strategy elements and all that. And I'm going to tell you right now, this is by far the easiest timer I have come across, especially on Tyrannical. We're going to talk about why I feel like the trash in this dungeon is, it was allotted as very voluminous and potentially difficult, but I disagree entirely. And I think the bosses in here are without question the easiest bosses in any dungeon, and they all happen to be in one dungeon. So that is extremely good. We're going to talk about them as we go. But one thing I want to bring up immediately is the reason we're doing a 13 is, first of all, thanks to the people in the group. This is actually a guild group, people in my guild. Typically I'd pull it from the stream, but today we decided, I decided to get together on Sunday and figured we might as well do a little bit higher of a key. I had a Motherlode 16, which is still bugged from the beginning, if you guys follow that. If not, no, don't worry about it. But regardless, I was thinking like we might do somewhat high key. And I had done Motherlode quite a few times. In fact, I actually already recorded a Motherlode 11 video almost a couple hours ago. Let's put it that way. That was set to go live tomorrow, or today now, obviously, for you guys. But instead, I scrapped that, and we're making this video instead. I figured, maybe we'll do, something higher. I was even thinking like maybe 15, something like that, because I had really good success with this dungeon this week. And as you're going to see, double upgrading at 13 with plenty of time to go. We absolutely destroy this place. So if you're doing this on any Tyrannical week especially, but I don't know, maybe these affixes make it somewhat easier. I don't really know. Maybe bolstering some other affixes that we might see in the future could be problematic in here. But this is an incredibly easy key, and I feel like Tyrannical in here especially makes it so. So one thing that we might struggle a bit with is count. We're going to talk a little bit about count. I know a lot of people, and also to their credit, the people that I did this with, they normally run with another tank and a full group, and they're very accomplished. They wanted, not wanted to, but they typically would recommend doing like a death run at the end. You're getting all of your count early and then skipping everything else. And, we didn't do that, mostly because, as the tank, I figured I might as well do what I'm most comfortable with. And I think it worked out pretty well. They're also mentioning that sometimes it bugs out. They try to res or like onk or whatever. And the mobs don't reset. The bombs at the end, they don't reset. They just sit there on your corpse. So as soon as you onk, you die, which I think is quite funny. But regardless, we don't do that. We do go over count, and this is something that I am trying to work on. I've been looking at the add-on, the Method Dungeon Tools add-on, and I just can't find a perfect count in here. I'm going to have to take a little bit harder look at it, but regardless, we just blow the doors off it. Frost Mage, Demon Hunter, BM Hunter, I think is really good too. All three of these specs, I would say, are among the top half, if not top tier, outright in Battle for Azeroth, and of course, Blood Death Knight. No slouch, let me put it that way. So the damage is extremely high, and that's the cool thing about this dungeon. This dungeon is literally just, it feels like the old style dungeon. You got Waycrest Manor, you got even like Archway, some of these dungeons with these very weird layouts, things like, you have to know the layout. You have to understand the ebb and flow of the dungeon. This is just, have at it. You know what I mean? Just go pack for pack, blow it up, 4 to 5 mobs here and there, occasionally, maybe a little bit higher, a little bit less. But there's just nothing to it. You know what I mean? It's just straightforward, interrupts, stuns, and that's that. Bob's your uncle, as they might say, and you're all set. So anyway, we're getting to the first boss here. But yeah, this is the route I would normally take. I've been really successful with it. I've seen people take other routes. Like I said, a lot of people go for more count early. They might go around the right side there. They might pull a couple packs that I skipped. But, this is the route that I took on the beta, and it was successful for me. I feel like it's worked well. But yeah, regardless, the assassins, some of the mobs that we pulled up to this point, the assassins, you really want to try to stun them. You could stun, it's called... It's like a dagger. It looks like a fan of knives type ability. You want to try to stun that with your stun. You can't grip it to prevent it, unfortunately, and it's not interruptible. But anyway, here's the first boss. And as I was saying before, I think this is probably one of the easiest bosses in the game. There's really only one mechanic, and it is to kick these footballs at the boss. And of course, not in this group, luckily, but a lot of Brazilians playing on US servers. So They're pretty good at football, I've been told, so they're even better at this fight than I might be. But regardless, I do make a pretty grievous error here. You see those coins. You do not want to let that boss get these coins. It increases the damage he does. The frost, whatever these footballs are, the things that you kick at him, they make him take more damage, though. So as long as you manage those two things properly, this is going to be an incredibly easy fight. He really doesn't have that much more health for a boss that effectively gives you a 15% damage buff for about 50% of the encounter. And obviously, you know, with the burst meta being what it is right now with certain specs and classes, you're going to be able to absolutely destroy this boss, and it's not going to be that bad. But you definitely want to avoid these coins. The more coins he collects, the more damage he is going to do with his ability there, and obviously the shocking claw you want to dodge. Now, one good thing, the knockback is you know, both magic and a knockback, so you could AMS it to prevent the damage, or you could use Death's Advance, or yeah, that's what it's called. It used to be called March of the Damned, Death's Advance, whatever. Use that, don't get knocked back, GG, get some extra healing in from that global that you might have missed. Now here, this right side is whatever, infested. Recently, I've been going up the left side. And in fact, in the previous video that was going to go live today, instead I went up the left side. But you know, we were so pensive about being overcount. I really wanted to make sure that we did well on this key. I wanted this to be the best that we possibly could do. So I'm thinking, all right, forget it. We're just going to go right instead. This is actually less count, even though it's not really less mobs. It gives slightly less count. So I was like, all right, well, that's a good thing. If Blizzard thinks it's less count, then that means it's more efficient. So that's the route we're going to take. Now, this trash here can be relatively dangerous. There's the mechanic called Final Blast. Some of these mobs will basically kill themselves trying to kill you. You'll see it right there. Final Blast CD comes up on the weak ore there, and you just want to move out of it. Now, those red bombs deal a lot of damage. As you see, I get clipped by it, and it hurts, definitely. Even as Blood DK, you definitely don't want to be getting hit by these things. But the cool thing, oh, look at that trap from Faxi. That was pretty pro play. I didn't see that. He trapped that pad over there just to make sure we didn't end up getting it. But anyway, the Final Blast is going to kill the mob. So something a big mistake I see a lot of people make is they prevent the Final Blast from getting off. But you don't need to do that. You just need to run. Now there, I failed to run, and I ended up dying for it. So that, you know, our first death is me to trash. This is not good. Blood DK should not be dying to trash, but playing a little sloppy in terms of that pack there. Now, here is very interesting. Something very interesting happens coming up here. This pack is nothing. I hate this part here because it feels like you can just go right to the end. Like the trash is so flimsy. Part of it, most of it's not even elites, and they don't really do much other than this barrier combo into this AoE ability, which can be easily stunned, gripped, knocked back, interrupted in multiple ways. You can purge the shield. But look at that. Somehow we've aggroed the second pack, which I think is a wipe, right? I mean, that's the way I expected it to go. We aggroed this much trash. I was like, oh, we're done. Luckily, misdirects on me. The mobs are still going to attack me. I basically built no threat on them. We're stunning the mobs. We're interrupting the mobs. We're treating them like, you know, they deserve the respect that they're getting. Interrupting, stunning, knocking back, slowing, etc. I'm able to survive, at least for the most part. And, you know, the Spirit Link down, that saved some lives there. I mean, this is just a really, really, really tough pack. But in, you know, compared to other dungeons, like think about some of the other dungeons. If we pulled twice, you know, extra mobs like that on Necrotic and, you know, even 13 in general, it's not going to go well, I think, right? So, yeah, and an exceptionally well handled recovery. Even though I'm taking a lot of damage here, we're still able to kite enough to make sure that we have no problems there. Now, this boss is very interesting, but one thing I want to point out before this boss starts is that it's quite odd. The bosses are always preceded by some of the hardest trash in the game. 3 out of the 4. The first boss isn't really like that, but you'll notice that in this case, especially these last 2 bosses, the hardest packs in the game are all preceded by some very difficult trash. So as you see there, I grip the one to make sure it's in range of my AoE grip, and then AoE grip them together, and there we go. We got Bone Storm up. We got Dancing Rune Weapon coming up. This is all physical damage. Unfortunately, you're not going to be able to AMS it, but you can grip them and then drop your stun, or not your stun, of course, your slow D&D with Talented. It's going to be extremely useful. They are basically now not able to reach a target, also thanks to Frost Mage's slow, but this is an incredibly easy fight, and the fact that I can grip all of these mobs together makes it even easier, right? Like, we have just, and if you're doing this on another tank, it can be pretty difficult because, you know, the tank isn't really going to be able to control these mobs like a Death Knight can. Maybe Vengeance can do some as well, but, you know, non-tanks of those two natures, you're not really going to be able to stop that. The mobs are just going to run all over the place. No matter how much slows and stuns you have, they're going to split up, and it's going to dramatically increase the time that you fight this boss. So I think this is a key element here. I was actually musing over the fact that Jazz, the Demon Hunter in the group, did such an incredible amount of damage to those. It was really insane, and that's, you know, a testament to where Demon Hunter is, but also to his ability. But regardless, that, you know, when you can grip all of those things together, slow them like that, you're not doing poorly. Let me put it that way. So as you see, we have 24 minutes coming off this, and this is looking really good. If you ask me, I'm thinking at this point, wow, we are crushing this key. Kind of wish we did a little higher, but regardless, the packs here on the left now. I've been going this right. If you've been watching the stream, been going this route. Freudian slip there. Been going this route, not going right, is what I was kind of combining into two things. I see a lot of people go different routes. A lot of people just skipping this entirely with the death, the death skips or whatever. Just getting as far as they can, dying, blah blah blah, rezzing. I don't feel like you need to do this. A lot of these mobs are very flimsy. I don't feel like they do much. These assistants are going to try to heal themselves to full, and then the alchemists are going to try to like mind control, or not mind control, but they're gonna, like, I don't know, they're gonna like transmute you into a blob or something like that. I think it can be dispelled. But yeah, this is actually a route that I learned from a longtime viewer and friend, Tagor, I never know how to say his name, but regardless, he showed me going left, and I think this is definitely the way to do it. It's not there's probably a better way to get exact count in here, and me going left here probably changes that. But yeah, obviously, you know, doing what we're doing here, it's going to make things a lot easier. It's going to make, the packs are way more controllable as well. And the big thing is you're swerving this mastermind. This mastermind is really a pesky mob. We're going to look at him very shortly here. We're going to get this in conjunction with these two other mobs. One of them is the Tester. The Tester does that knockback ability. We fought one already, I think maybe two already. And just be aware that Echo Blade is a silence. It's going to pick a direction and then shoot it. And then that Force Blade or something like that is a knockback. It will pick random people, not just a tank, so you can't necessarily control it. But it will try to knock people back, and if like the rest of your group is stacked up and it hits everybody, it's going to do a fair amount of damage. But the main thing is, as the tank, you want to make sure that you're not getting knocked back. Here we see another, this time two of these testers, and particularly more dangerous, but you're going to see we handle it exceptionally well. We got stuns. I'm gripping them to prevent the knockback. This is just saving tons of time. And it's also preventing damage and potential danger that might be coming at times in this dungeon. Now, again, the Motherlode? No, that's the name of the dungeon. The Mastermind, the Masterlode. That's not the right word. Anyway, so yeah, this pack here is very interesting. Now, a lot of this is going to be magic damage, so you got to get a very good use out of AMS. But the way I would recommend it is this Energy Lash ability is actually a channel, but it's got a cast that builds up to the upside of the channel. So the caster is going to the mob is going to cast the ability, and before that cast gets off, it's quite short, you could AMS it, and as long as it's picking you with, you have AMS up, it's going to just freak out. It's not going to know what to do. It can apply the channel to you, so it's just going to keep trying to cast it over and over again, effectively deleting the mob. It's no longer doing any damage. So that's a great tip that I would love to give you guys. I would definitely recommend doing that. Now, this boss is, I think, probably one of the easiest bosses in the game. There's really only one thing that you need to be aware of, but it's a very long encounter. Now, one of the group members, the Hunter, actually reminded me that if everybody stands together, so typically in the previous video I recorded, I recommended that everybody stands close. But if everybody stands together, the mechanics always go in the same place, and you could get her to just push them away immediately. So it's basically drop them, push it with the propellant, drop it again, push it, etc. But we do it poorly, as you're going to see, and it's kind of like pushing the stuff through us, and this is not ideal. I guess you don't want to do this. But regardless, what I want to bring up is there's I think it's called like caustic infection. It's some kind of magical debuff. You'll see it. She just cast it there. You can AMS it. It doesn't always pick the tank. It basically picks two people, one non-tank, and then usually the tank. But we discussed it in the actual course of the dungeon. It doesn't always seem to pick the tank. I feel like it's maybe like a 50% chance to pick the tank and then one other person. I don't know. But regardless, just gamble for it. It's pretty likely that it's going to go on you anyway, and there's no real other use for AMS here. So what you want to do is you want to try to, you see it, chemical burn. That's the name of it there. You want to try to AMS at the right time, but it's difficult. It's a very quick cast, so you got to be ready. A lot of the time you'll see me just sitting there not even doing anything ahead of it just to make sure I get it off. Because if you're a second late and it's already on you, you've basically wasted AMS. I mean, it's going to absorb some damage, but it's not going to do anywhere near, it's not going to be anywhere near as effective as literally deleting the mechanic from you. So I would definitely recommend that, but as you see, just a joke of a fight, and really, that's the theme here. This dungeon's bosses are a joke. So on Tyrannical, when that's supposed to be the hard part, and the bosses are, you know, barely harder than the trash, and effectively have no mechanics, then yeah, I would recommend doing the Motherlode. Let's put it that way. Now, this trash, you're going to actually see me die. And at this point, I'm starting to freak out a little bit because I make some pretty big mistakes about around this time here. I'm trying to drop Necrotic, and it's just not working. And boy, do I get frustrated with Necrotic. Necrotic just gives me fits, honestly. It's really unfun. Like, the mob is not slowable. I have no way that I could prevent it. And a couple deaths come from it. Now, the other deaths are being caused maybe by the bombs. The bombs do a large amount of fire damage. You can AMS it. You could also stun them. That ability there, Seek and Destroy, as you see, is going to pick me, and it's going to seek me and then destroy me, as you can tell. So you could stun that. If you stun the cast, it will not seek or destroy, and therefore will not explode on top of you. You could also grip it to interrupt it multiple different ways, or you can literally just kill it, which is definitely possible as well. But as you see, it gets stunned, it dies, no big deal, no explosion. But the bombs, especially on, I don't know if the damage they do is related to any of the affixes, but as you just saw, I got pretty much, you know, I got seeked and destroyed. Let's put it that way. That mob killed me outright. I don't have anything to say about it. It overpowered me. So, and there's a couple up here, and you just want to be careful because they're going to put you in combat. This is what I was describing. If you choose to do the strategy where you just, you know, skip everything after this part of the dungeon, you see that did about 50% of my health, maybe a little bit more. You know, you might have to deal with these bombs on the way. I guess if you, you know, they bug out or whatever, and the bombs don't despawn, and you cannot onk or whatever, Warlock, Soulstone, Battle Res, etc. On top of the bombs, they're going to just kill you again, so you got to be aware of that. But anyway, that's pretty much it. And now, again, let's take a look at the count. This is the main thing I want to talk about in this video. The boss, whatever, the boss is coming up. It's going to be very easy, but we are worried about count a bit. Now, I think we're way better off this time, and yeah, it looks like we're actually in pretty good shape here. And there you see that green health bar indicates the mob is tracking on me, thanks to Plater. Very good add-on. I would recommend it to anybody, but it is going to show me exactly when I'm in danger. Yeah, I think we're actually in very good shape here for count. I guess a lot of the times we do this dungeon, people pull extra, and that doesn't help. But yeah, this is almost like percent perfect now, it looks like. So anyway, the only other thing I want to talk about besides the last boss here is something that I'm kind of using to my advantage, okay? This just came up to me this week. Yes, that was almost percent perfect. That's pretty nice. Anyway, this just came up to me this week, so I'll let you guys in a little secret, okay? If you delete your key and then complete a dungeon that would normally give a key, you get a new key. Now, I don't know if this is a bug or not, okay? So if I'm like abusing an exploit, I'm unaware of it, but I'm pretty sure this is supposed to work this way. I'm pretty sure they did this because early on, people were getting keys that they weren't supposed to get. Like I described in the beginning of the video, I got a key I was not supposed to get. I'm still getting credit for that key. That's why I had a 16 Motherlode, because I got a 20 4 weeks ago, then 19, then 18, then 17, now 16, okay? So let me tell you what I did. I deleted my key, and I got a different key. It gave me a 16 again. Regardless of that fact, the point is, when you delete your key and complete a new 0, or any dungeon, I guess, that gives a key, including Mythic Plus, you will get a key that seemingly, now I'm not 100% sure of this, but I'm pretty sure, seemingly is credit from the previous week. So it's just like you got a whole new key. So if you did a 15 last week, and you have like a 12 because you've been failing the keys this week, delete your key, you'll get a new 14. Okay, complete a dungeon, you'll get a new 14. Now that to me is getting to be like exploit level range. I don't know if that's intended, but regardless, it does seem to be giving credit for previous weeks. Me and Syiler and some other people have been testing that this weekend. You know, people were saying they did 11s last week. They delete their key, they get a 10. At first, we weren't sure. I'm not actually going to make this, by the way. You definitely want to make sure. One thing I do want to talk about real quick, these stocks of dynamites, if you do not... like sometimes it seems like you only need 1 or maybe even 2 or, you know, whatever, less than 3. And I don't really know why that is. I think that's bugged as well. But regardless, you're supposed to take the boss on top of those when you're fixated. So anyway, listen, the delete your key, get a new key. This, whatever, maybe it doesn't appeal to you right now. I'm going to tell you why you want to do this. Some of the dungeons in this game are considerably easier than other dungeons. Some of the dungeons in this game have loot that you might want. Some of the dungeons may not. So guess what? This is actually, I feel like this is the best way to go about getting keys now. And I think next week I might start doing this exclusively. I'm just going to keep deleting my key until I get a key I want. will pug keys in the meantime, keep getting new keys, and then I will do my own key when I have the dungeon I want to take the luck out of the group forming, to take the luck out of the situation, and we could even start doing like 12s and 13s, etc. So yeah, I would recommend it if you guys are looking for specific keys or you're just looking to push. That is a big tip that I can give you guys. But anyway, we comfortably beat this +2. I'm really satisfied. So thanks for watching. We'll see you guys in the next one.